Hi, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, my first guest for Queen J Productions has worked with KRS-One, Ras Kass, Tash of the Alcoholics, Alchemist, Corrupt, Kool Keith, Battle Cat, and many, many more. He is an author, voice actor, musician, and the CFO of Sterling World Records. Black Silver, how you
What up? What up? What
doing?
up? I am awesome. How are you?
Good. How's your week been?
Been good, productive. That's how I like it. Staying busy.
Yeah, yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
What's
But
going
what's
on your way?
good? Everything's staying busy over here, working and start this new production, and
Awesome
I
sauce.
appreciate you coming on. And so what is keeping you busy these days?
I mean, a little bit more than nothing. I don't let any grass grow around me. I took 6 years off back in like 2019-ish. And 2018 really, but and I wasn't messing with any recording at all, right? I was still running my booking agency, so I was booking for a lot of the homies and doing some sync placement here and there, but I wasn't actively recording or releasing any music for over 6 years. So 2 years ago, when I decided that I wasn't frustrated with the industry anymore, mainly because I didn't have to deal with it, I got back into the game. And so since then, it's been pretty nonstop, you know? So with that being said, about a year ago, Rusty Jux and myself, Rusty Jux, Crown Heights, Brooklyn MC from Boot Camp Clip, him and I released an album like a year and a half ago. And so right now we're working on part two of that. It's not necessarily a part two, but it's our second project together. Kool Keith and I are almost done wrapping up a dubstep EP. Local astronauts are producing the project with me and Rusty Jukes. Um, what else is going on? I'm finishing up a solo project right now. Um, and that is called Void Where Inhibited, completely produced by Hard Money. So whoever's out there listening, like all those last couple singles, Wolf, In a Nutshell, um, uh, Fire and Ice, all those singles are from the Void Where Inhibited album produced by Hard Money, like I said. And then a lot of people have been asking questions, and you just kind of introduced me as knowing KRS or whatever, or working with them. I released a single called Basic Needs about 2 months ago, and that's blowing the fuck up. It's, Shade 45 is showing love. I'm on several Apple Music playlists. It's like probably the best single that I've released in quite some time as far as numbers go. So that single, Basic Needs, is produced by DJ Obi, a longtime collaborator of mine. And it's featuring KRS-One, Ras Kass, and Raka of Dilated Peoples. And that single is me and Raka's first single from our project. So that's four projects right there that are in the works that haven't been released. So that's a little something to get you started.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, you got a lot on your agenda.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I don't let any grass grow. I like working. I like staying busy and productive.
Right. That's awesome.
Yep.
So I wanted to ask you, what captivated you the most when it came to rapping versus breakdancing, graffiti, beatboxing? When this whole journey started.
Nothing about rap in particularly captivated me most because, I'm what they call a b-boy. So I'm familiar with all the elements of hip hop and the culture and I experimented with every aspect of it. I do the knowledge, like you said, I've break danced, I've done graffiti, and I currently still rap. So nothing made me choose that as opposed to the other things, but let's just say, for instance, right now, graffiti never put money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? but I'm still creative. If I sit down, with a pen in my sketchbook, I could probably, outdraw the average person. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because I
yeah.
developed the skill set. Same with a, can of spray paint. But time doesn't allow you to just, you got to choose your battles. You know what I'm saying? Um, so with the dancing and the graffiti and all that, I found out how to monetize rapping, which is why that became the main thing, the main aspect of hip hop that I kind of cultivated.
Wow, that's awesome. And for the
Yeah.
people who may be just discovering you for the first time, how
Uh-huh.
did your journey into music begin?
Well, I came up in Los Angeles. I'm a South Central Los Angeles kid. I was born in Tennessee, but my parents moved me to LA when I was 4 years old. So that's all I know. And coming up out there, if you were into hip hop and you weren't trying to gang bang, it was a certain section of people that made those life choices. And I was friends with them all. So, during my early school years, Farside was just out here doing a show at the Brooklyn Bowl, and Imani had called me at the last minute, like, "Hey, you and wifey want to come down?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah, for sure," because I didn't even know about it prior. So he invited me down. But then when I got there, I didn't want to go backstage. I mean, I've done that enough in my life. Sometimes, if it's necessary, if we're discussing business, I'll do that. But I actually want to be a fan. I want to enjoy the show of my homies, right?
Mhm.
So I didn't go backstage, but I heard them announce that they had an after party. And at the after party, DJ Fatlip was DJing. So we actually got to talk. And he was like, "Man, I remember eighth grade at Pasteur. Like, you helped me out in a fight. They was picking on me, you know what I'm saying? Whoop de whoop de whoop. I was like, nigga, I forgot about that. So uh,
Yeah.
that's eighth grade, how long I've known, the
Ah,
Far Side Collective. Later on, like 2 years later, Imani, not Imani, but Romai and I went to Fairfax High together. I was just telling you about Rocka from Dilated. Me and Rocka used to walk his little brother Buddy and my little sister Angie to elementary school before we went to John Burroughs High School together. So like these are my friends, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Ras Kass and I have like the same tattoo. We were in a dance group together since we were like 16 or 17 years old. So all these people that I'm working with, like it sounds good, but they're actually my lifelong friends. I didn't go seek them out or, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
it's the people
right,
I grew up with.
right.
So with all that, to answer your question, they all had record deals before actually said I'm going to rap for a living. Because I was still just exploring other options. I had actually came out to Las Vegas about a year and a half after I graduated from Crenshaw High School. I came to Vegas, and I'm a UNLV graduate. I have a degree in architectural drafting.
Mm.
So I came out here before I knew anyone here, no family, anything. Did that, got my degree, went back to California. My parents were expecting me to become an architect, and I see all my homies got fucking record deals, and I was like, nope, I know what I'm doing. So
Right.
that, so that's how that happened.
Right. Oh wow, wow. That's amazing. Did you ever do any work with the architect degree? Like did you
Uh,
put out anything
when I
or
was here, I graduated second in my class, so I was,
wow.
one place away from being the top student. But anyway, the top four students in my class, we got to design a bar here in town called Billy the Kid Bar. So we designed this big centerpiece for the bar. And that was my first actual work. And then when I moved back to LA, I had an internship at the Blue Well, which is one of the largest architectural firms on the West Coast
Wow.
over in Beverly Hills. So I did do it for a little while. It was an
Mhm.
internship. I wasn't doing anything but touching up blueprints, but I really got to see how that corporate side of architectural works. And it's cool, but I just ultimately decided that I needed a little more freedom in my life. I didn't want to
Right.
be constricted to, answering to somebody, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely know what you mean.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And at the time, this is pre-internet even. So I guess I just told my age. But but
Right.
it was pre-internet, so it
Yeah.
wasn't like you could just decide unless you were bankrolled already, decide to be an independent architect. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty neat. Like when you have a passion about something, it's not gonna leave you. Like if you're meant for something, like a desire, like a deep desire, you can go to school to be a doctor, you can go to school to be a heart surgeon.
absolutely.
But if that creative spark is still in you, it's not
Yeah,
gonna leave.
no
So
doubt.
I
My
feel that.
sister, I was telling you, that lives out by you, her and
Uh-huh.
her husband built a house about 2 years ago. So they've been living in it like a year and a half. So they built it from scratch. And I designed their backyard for them. So I still utilize it. I got canopies going up, custom grills, planter systems, and that
That's
was my
awesome.
housewarming gift to them.
Oh, that's neat. That's pretty neat. Especially out here in Arizona, you got
Yeah,
it's so vast and there's so much land and
absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So, what changed when you met and started working with Kool Keith and the other legends in hip hop?
Well, Keith specifically, I always pay a lot of homage to him because, like I said, I grew up around so many West Coast legends that were actually my friends, but none of them like helped me get into the game. And I'm not saying that to diss them. Like I said, these are my brothers. I love them to death.
Hmm.
It's not I'm not firing shots or anything, but
Right.
I was at home. I was at my apartment in Hollywood. I used to live on this street called Martell, just between like Sunset and Franklin in Hollywood. And long story short, Keith and I happened to live in the same building. Neither of us knew each other at all. Of course, I knew who Keith was, and we met in the elevator one day, and a couple weeks later this guy asked me to come down to his house because he noticed I had some skills rapping. And a little while after that, I was in the studio with him and about to go on tour with him. So I always give Kool Keith homage because he's who actually put me in the game, got me my first rap money.
Wow, wow,
Yeah.
wow. And then working with legends over the years, what was the biggest lesson that you learned early on in the game and working with Kool Keith? Like, what did he when he brought you on? What did he teach you?
There
Since he
is
brought
no
you on.
biggest lesson. I was very lucky in the sense that the people that I was connected with were always around other people who were very connected. So if you know Kool Keith or if you know Dilated Peoples, then you're going to run into the alchemists and you know what I mean? If you know
Hmm.
Kool Keith, then you're going to run into the boot camp cliques. If you know Ice T, you know what I'm saying? You're going to run into the King Tees, right?
Hmm.
It's
Right.
just inevitable. So I was constantly learning everything at a very rapid rate, you know. Um, and I was lucky that way because I got to be a fly on the wall a lot of time and see how the business side of things are going, as well as the creative side, So, and I attribute that to obviously paying attention, but also the reason that I've been able to sustain a, living off of my music without being a household name. You know what I'm saying? Everyone doesn't know who Black Silver is. And a lot of my homies have much bigger audiences, but I paid attention at an early stage because I was around so many successful people, and I always, dotted my I's and crossed my T's. So my
Hmm.
business has been good.
Wow. So when you said that you always like paid attention, what did that look like? Did you just walk in the room and just sit and listen and watch and observe, or how did you feel walking into these rooms and these are your
Well, yeah,
friends?
most of the time, these discussions that I'm referring to weren't had nothing to do with me, but because I was never the type of person to have my handout, or asking for handouts,
Right.
just because they're who they are. They, like I said, they were actually my friends, so they didn't mind bringing me with them when they had these big business meetings. You know what I mean? I've been with Ice T when he was discussing, hundreds of $1 million deals, whether it was movies or music shit. I've been with Keith, at Columbia Rough House after the Fuji sold 10 million albums. That's where you wanted to be. And that's where we recorded the Black Elvis Project in Philly, and we're flying in Roger Troutman,
Wow.
and you know what I mean, like,
Yeah,
so I'm
yeah.
around these just extremely successful, extremely talented artists a lot, and these big business moguls. I've been in the room with Clive Davis discussing, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
$100 million deal with another mogul, equivalent to him. And like I said, the people that I came there with didn't mind me coming because they knew I wasn't going to embarrass them. I wasn't going to act stupid. I wasn't going to talk and interrupt the meeting. You know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
got to really hear the business, the back end of what's going on in the industry.
Right. So you knew how to carry yourself, uh,
Absolutely.
even at a
Yeah.
young age. You just knew how to like properly act. And a lot of people, and this is just, it's not a popular opinion, but there's people out there that don't know how to act in them situations.
Are you
You
kidding me?
know,
Are you kidding me? My
it's
loved ones as well. I got a whole crew of, cats that are, really I consider family or brothers. But, some of them I could not do that with. I know the ones I could, but there's a
right.
bigger group that I could not.
Right. You just know, like, you just have that feeling or that discernment. Like, yeah, these are the ones I'm gonna leave back, and
I
these are the
mean,
ones that I'm taking with me.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So looking back now, what do you know about the music industry that you wish you knew when you first started?
Well, as is life, hindsight is always 2020. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I'm personally the type of person that doesn't live with regrets. So let's start there. But if there were a few things that I know now that I wish I knew back then, it would just be consistency and having a more independent frame of mind in general. You know, when I'm in my mid to late 20s, ultimately you wanted a record deal. I would have never even considered having a record deal if I knew what I knew now. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you can count that as time wasted. But once again, I don't have any regrets. You know what I'm saying? I'm 55 years old. 20% of the people that I'm discussing having being tight with back then are either dead or in jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still here and I make a living off of my art. I am blessed. I have no complaints.
Right. Right. So everything that you made, it was meant to be. All your decisions, all your actions, behaviors, everything was meant for
Yeah.
you to get to this point in life right now.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
so what does loyalty look like and mean in the music business?
Oh my goodness. It really is very thin. There's not a lot of loyalty, to be honest with you. And when you learn not to rely on that, you'll start doing a lot better.
Wow. What do you mean by that? When
I
you
mean, you don't necessarily have to be cutthroat, but you
mm-hmm.
do have to tend to your own business and pay attention to what's going on. Because if there is a leak in your business, somebody will exploit it, period.
Mm. Wow, that's good to know.
It could be someone close to you. It could be someone you aspire to do business with. It could be someone who sought you out because they saw the leak, knew you didn't know it was there, and intended on exploiting it if you agreed to the deal. And nine times out of 10, when someone comes to you with any type of investment in your artistry, you're already leaning towards saying yes before you even hear the business end, just because it doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how a lot of artists get taken advantage of.
Mm. So is it good always to have that one person nearby that could be like, hey, watch out for this, watch out for that, because it's a lot for one person to look at a whole group of people around you and have that discernment, like, you know, uh, that's a red flag. This is a red flag. Would you say that?
Well, see, that's a little different because now you're talking about a team,
Mm.
which doesn't necessarily lean into the loyalty program. If you're
Mm.
talking about, just your man that knows his shit and is there to look out for you, that's cool sometimes. But when you're talking about a team, now that's business. That's not loyalty. You guys have already discussed how you're splitting up any money that's made. So this is business now. So it's in their best interest to look out for your best interest, because the more money they make you, the more money they make. That's just business. So having a team, of course, that's important. But as far as the loyalty thing, those are two different things to
Oh,
me.
I see. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Definitely.
Yeah.
So, how do you balance humility while still knowing who you are in the music industry?
That has never affected me. I truly believe that, you know, if you're a real human being, then money should not really change you, right? Or success should not really change you. So when you see people that don't really have any humility, that are really big headed, that's who they were before. They just didn't have the
Mm,
success or the fame. You know what I mean? And so, like I said to you earlier, I know how to count my blessings, right? I've
right.
literally, I've been the opening act for the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Foo Fighters. I've rocked, some MCs, and this isn't any it doesn't mean that they're not as successful. They could be more successful, but I know a lot of rappers that have never rocked for 80,000 people. You know what I'm saying? Consistently. So I've been blessed. I've been around the world. I was going overseas when I was in my 20s, and once again I'm in my 50s now. So with all that being said, you have a choice as a human being to either realize that we all breathe the same air,
Mm-hmm.
or be considered a dick every time you leave a room, and I since you've met me, have you seen anything else
No,
other than
no,
me being myself?
no, absolutely not. Like you're very, very humble. Like, in a sense, like I'm very comfortable talking to you because it's just like that human interaction. Like
Good,
in
exactly.
my mind, I'm like, it's not. I respect you for your work, absolutely. So it's not like, but it's just like I'm very, like I said, very comfortable speaking to you and having these conversations and asking you uh deep questions because I know I can do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
With some people, I'm not saying that's how they are, but I've interacted. Obviously, we interact with a lot of people
Right.
in our fields and stuff like that, and some people don't want to go below the surface level,
Yeah, I know. you
and
know
don't want to tap into that human aspect of themselves. They want to keep
right.
that persona, and
Yeah,
I respect. I That's definitely one reason why I respect you is because you go, below that surface level.
for sure. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
I couldn't have it any other way. I don't know how to be anything other than myself. You know what I mean?
Right, right. Okay. I appreciate that. So, what's something that the younger artists today don't fully understand about building a career?
Um, from the outside looking in, I just think that, obviously I take a little blame being an OG. I think we should have done a better job of, I don't know, instilling some type of cultural understanding
Mm-hmm.
into the youth rather than, you know, popping bottles and fucking models. You know
Yep.
what I
Yep.
mean? Because it seems like that's all they learned from our era. And I
Yeah.
know for a fact that we were talking about a lot of other shit. So I'm a little bewildered by it, to be honest, but I have to take a little, responsibility for it as well. So,
Yeah.
you know, I, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. There's a disconnect somewhere, but I don't have the answers.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So it's more like study the greats, study the culture itself, like where it began, why
Yeah.
did it begin?
Right.
Those things is what they need to look for.
See, this is what actually bothers me about the new generations of musicians specifically. It's not the actual art, It's that there's no diversity.
Mm.
When we were coming up, you had a little bit of the pretentious, big-headed, braggadocio style of rappers that were out there, but it was fine because it was balanced by, the super kind of preachy, trying to always give you a lesson type of rappers. Then you had the kind of hippies who was just, peace, love, and happiness to
Yeah.
all. And then you kind of had, the the straight gangsters, you know what I mean? But you had somewhere to go. You could pick and choose what you as a human being kind of wanted to go. Now they have one lane. It's crazy. How do they not see that they all sound
This
alike? That's
right.
what bugs me the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
If it was just one group of them doing that and you had the diversity that we had, there wouldn't be any issues. And I probably speak to for a lot of people out there. You know what I'm saying?
Yep,
But
yep.
they just all sound fucking alike. They're carbon copies. They're cake mix. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, I agree. And I hear that a lot when I listen to interviews too, when I'm on YouTube and I search for, different the people I consider heroes when I listen to them. That's one of the things, like
Yeah.
there's no diversity, there's no they talk about just one thing.
Yep.
So and it leans more towards cuz I more towards the beat making aspect of it. And
Hmm.
so a lot of younger people, including myself, sometimes we lean towards the sound of the music instead of the lyricism of the rap. And
I mean, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's part of it. I That's one thing as an MC. I've always worked with people that I enjoy the production that I'm going to be rapping over, obviously, right?
uh-huh,
But
uh-huh.
but with that being said, I respect them just as much.
Mhm.
When I was telling you earlier about the project that I'm wrapping up, Void Where Inhibited, right? Produced by Hard Money. You know, I have a team together, right? A graphic designer. I have unlimited distribution through Empire. Sterling World Records is my label. Blah blah blah. So my engine is pretty well oiled. So when Hard Money and I decided to do this project, I was like, just keep sending me beats. We'll agree on the ones that are cohesive for a project, and then I can pretty much handle everything else because I have the team in place, right? So my graphic designer was, doing the cover arts for each single, and one of them came back and it really didn't really represent Hard Money other than saying his name, because a lot of time they put the MC as the front face of projects. And so you may see the producer's name, but you don't really know what he looks like or whatever unless you do your research. So I've always made sure that that wasn't the case with producers I work with because they are equally as important in this final product
Right.
that can become a soundtrack to some people's lives. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I've always respected the producers, is what I'm getting at. I know
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
a long way to say that.
And I salute you for that because it's like it's part of creativity too that
Absolutely.
it may tap into a different part of your brain or
I mean, you hear the beat first before you learn the lyrics.
right, absolutely.
you
Yeah, exactly.
know,
So just wrapping up here, I got a couple more questions for you just real quick.
alrighty.
Um so what do you want to be remembered for in the music industry?
Oh goodness. I have no idea how to answer that.
Okay.
you
That's all
know,
right. That's
you
cool.
know, one thing that's cool about, being a musician, especially with the outlets that are available digitally nowadays, is that you are leaving something behind,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? Um, People from all around the globe can have access to my art forever. So, kind of regardless of how I feel about it or what I would like to see, that's guaranteed.
Right.
So that's enough for me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I can't speculate, or I can't really, well, I don't really have any expectations or aspirations of how I would like to be remembered. I'm more stuck in the zone. Like the more I put out there for the world, the more I'm leaving behind that they'll have access to. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, and a couple of fun questions for you. So what is your favorite food? And what's the food that you cannot live without?
Oh man. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'm quite the foodie. I'm actually sitting next to my smoker right here. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
cook a lot. Um, so I would have to generalize it. I can't say one food. I mean, okay, yes, I can. Okay, my favorite meal, let's just say, is
Okay.
going to be a ribeye steak, some asparagus, and any type of tater. So meat and
Yep.
potato.
Yep, that's
You know
me
what I
too.
mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it has to be ribeye. I can't do the New York strip, I can't do sirloin, I can't do it has to
Oh,
be
really?
ribeye or
I mean,
tomahawk.
you asked my favorite, and my favorite cut is ribeye, but I'll
Yep,
eat a
that's
filet.
fine.
I'll eat a
Oh, you
T-bone. I
will?
don't mind a New York. Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
eat them all.
I'll do T-bone too. I'll do T-bone. Yeah, I'll do, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
yeah, as long as it's not dry and it's got the fat around it. That's what I
Oh,
like the
for
most.
sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Well,
Keep
thank
it
you.
moist and give me some flavor.
Right, right. Well, thank you for coming on and I appreciate it and this has been fun and
Yeah, I
I,
appreciate you having me. It's all good
absolutely.
anytime, you know.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
you know, we're friends off the camera, so you know, always reach out to me. I told you the first time we met. Any
Mhm.
questions, please pick my brain. You know, my philosophy is I probably know it, and if I do, I'm willing to share. If I don't, we can learn it together.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I appreciate too. I can come to you and be like, "Yo, what's this about? What's that about? Can
For
you,
sure.
look into this or that?" And I really like the openness.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
yeah, this has been fun. This is the
Yep,
first
yep.
episode and
Right.
yeah.
Good
All
luck
right.
with the whole, you know, platform interview thing, you know.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Right.
Got my aesthetics going on behind me and
Right. Right. Looks nice, looks comfortable.
thank you. All right. So
Yeah.
this is it, y'all, and I hope you have a good day, the rest of your day, and
Right
we'll go
on.
from
Black
there.
Silver Navy
All right.
signing out.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye.